our guy, Nick Underhill, neworleans.football. That is the site. It is your go-to place for the latest and greatest. Nick, what's going on, man? How you doing this week?
Hey, doing great. How you guys doing?
We're in that off-season mode where we're like, you know what? Maybe they're not going to be that bad. I don't know. They're young.
Playoff team.
Maybe they don't know any better. They got a young head coach. He's worked with a lot of different quarterbacks, a lot of different skill sets. They've all been really good. That's where we're at in the offseason, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the kind of the cycle that it goes through every year. But I'm holding steady at 5 until we see something. I just can't get there yet. But I find myself leaning more into the optimism that what happened. You start to look at all the faults along there, like, well, maybe they'll fix this, maybe they'll fix that, but there's a lot of fixing that's got to get done here.
Wait, Nick, you're sticking with 5, like 5 wins, or like 5 on a scale of 10 of like your excitement? 5
wins. My excitement though is like I'm at like a 9, man. Like I just kind of want to find out like what they're going to be. I find the team to be way more interesting than it was in previous seasons. I think. It's just that kind of the unwrap box under the Christmas tree. Like it's just you're just looking at it. It could be anything, and maybe Tyler Shough's good. Maybe there's some upside here. It hasn't disappointed you yet. There's just nothing really to be super negative about. You've never seen the coach make a bad decision before, so like my interest level is just kind of is through the roof, and I think they could win 5 games, and it would be way more fun than 5 with Derek Carr. I think it's just kind of, you're at the start of something instead of trying to like hang on to something at the end. And look, and even if they suck, like all these guys that were just at the Manning camp, like all of them are on the table now. Like if Shough's not good, like all those guys become possibilities. So I think even in like the extreme disappointment, like it's just like, well, all right, well I'm going to watch Clemson and on Saturday and imagine what it's going to look like on Sunday. And I think that's kind of exciting, too.
So you've been there, obviously, pretty much day in, day out over the last couple of years. What does it look like now compared to what it looked like last year or maybe the last few years with Dennis Allen as the head coach? Does it have a different feel? Does it have a better feel? Is it more organized? Is it more fun? Like, what are the vibes now compared to what they have been?
I think last year was actually kind of similar to this year. And, I mean, I think the players kind of go through the same thing, too. Like last year it was, new offensive staff. The year before it was, I think still kind of like that continuation of frustration because, Carmichael was coming off the bad season. They tried to replace him. They couldn't. He comes back. And that season kind of felt stuck. And I don't know that there was like the hope and positivity. But last year around this time, I feel like it kind of felt the same way. They were all excited about that staff. They thought it was going to turn around. They thought things were going to be a lot better. And, for 2 weeks it was. And then, all of a sudden wasn't. But it's interesting, though, because, like, I don't know, like, the veteran players kind of seem like maybe they've been through too much. So, like, there's more of a guarded optimism than sort of just, like, full on drinking the Kool-Aid type of optimism. I think there's a little bit of skepticism about like, all right, well, look, like I'm going to do what I can do, but they got to, the organization has to show me kind of what they have, going on. And I get it. Like, I feel like even from my point of view, I've went through the same process and become a little bit jaded and you're kind of more like, man, like I fell into this trap before. I'm not going to do it again. So I think there's a little bit of that feeling in there too, but I think in general, people are excited and curious and they like the vision of the offense. There's a lot of that, but yeah, I don't know that it's like full on Kool-Aid drinking at this point. I think there's a little bit of, show and prove.
Wait, I thought you told me Kool-Aid was going to be better this year.
A lot of cards.
Well, we'll see.
Thank you.
So Nick, kind of like piggybacking on that a little bit. So I'm watching the news the last couple of days, and it seems like the Steelers have been in the headlines all offseason. They've made so many moves. They just had a big blockbuster trade yesterday with Minka Fitzpatrick and Jalen Ramsey, and it just got me thinking about the Saints. Like, I didn't hear hardly any splashes this year in offseason, whether it's free agent signings, trades, and there's a little bit here and there, but no big splashes on trying to like instantly improve a team overnight. So is that because of the season last year where they kind of were? Was it a new coach situation, or is that just veterans in the NFL thinking it is not a desirable place for me at this time?
I think it's both. I think it's definitely both those things. As far as trying to attract the free agents, I think if Derek Carr's retirement had been a thing in March, I doubt Justin Reed's here. I doubt Tyrann Mathieu takes a pay cut. I doubt Cam Jordan's is willing to do what he's willing to do to stick around. Like, I think a lot of stuff this offseason plays out completely differently if they knew that, because all of a sudden, like, now there really isn't a chance to win. And then beyond that, where they're at now, if you're Jalen Ramsey, like, this isn't where you want to go. You saw the video with Aaron Rodgers where he was up on the stage, like, yeah, I would never, like, there's no way I'd go play for the Saints. I don't know where he was at, but somebody asked him that and he answered it. I think that's just kind of reflective of where they're at right now. Like, this isn't a place where you're looking to go to try to win right now. I think it's a major rebuild. And organizationally, every time there's one of these guys out there, like, I try to reach out, find out, hey, look, like, anybody looking at him, if they reached out about him. And, universally, the answer's been, like, no. There was a report yesterday about Gilmore. I checked up on that. The answer was no, like, they're not looking at him. So, like, I think they're kind of at a place where they just want to find out what they have, and either they have answers or they don't. And I think they're trying to do this build, sort of the right way and not be reckless about anything or try to put too much weight on trying to win this season. Because, I think realistically, like, if you look at it, I mean, there's not a chance to be a real winning team right now. And, what's the value of getting from, let's say they are a 5-win team and you go out and you add some veteran that's going to help you get the 6.5, 7 wins. Like, what's the value in that? Like, now you're just kind of lowering yourself in the draft and you kind of got to weigh both things. You want to build your culture. You want to have some success. I think having success helps you build that culture. I think you have to be, like, mindful of all that stuff, but, like, trying to spend money and assets on, like, trying to improve a team that's not going anywhere currently, I don't think it's the right way to do it. Like, I think you got to find out what your answers are. I think there's a lot of unknowns on this team. Let that stuff reveal itself this year, and then I think next year you start trying to add to what's good, get rid of what isn't, and go from there. But I think it's both those things. I think they're kind of, I don't want to say foot off the gas, but they aren't pressing on it like they have in the past where they felt like the NFC South was attainable. At the same time, I don't think there's many veterans trying to get into this vehicle right now.
Nick, did Tyler Shough, did he hire a Louisiana PR firm to run his off-season campaign of just absolutely endearing himself to every single Louisiana? Like, he's done everything. And then, of course, this past weekend shows up at the Manning Passing Academy, gets rave reviews from him. Peyton Manning's doing interviews on the Pat McAfee show talking about Shough coming down. So, like, he's doing everything. Is there anything? Has there been one misstep from Tyler Shough this offseason?
I don't know. I don't think so, man. Like, he just seems to have, like, studied everything that went wrong with the previous quarterback. And
almost
doing
too
the opposite
perfect right now, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my criticism. Is, like, this almost feels like too calculated, like too much. But, like, yeah, he's making all the right moves, says all the right things. I think, him being a little bit older too, like, plays into him coming in here, like, the right way, understanding where he's at with it and everything. I think there's, like, a maturity to it. But look, like, even if it is, like, a plan and it's kind of coming from, like, whatever, like, if he's game planning how he's coming into a city, like, I like what that says about how he approaches things in general, being a smart, calculated, thought out individual. Like, I feel like that's going to translate into, his actual job. I like him. I like how he's handling things. I like everything that he says. I like what he's doing. He just seems, I don't know, he just seems smart. And look, I think there's, like, a genuineness to it too. Like, even if you are kind of sitting down planning that stuff out, like, it's coming from, like, a place of understanding and wanting. I mean, you guys know how it is here, man. Like, wanting to be part of the community and all that stuff. Like, it actually, like, matters probably more than it maybe, it should, but it's part of it. And it's part of how people, react to you and accept you and all that stuff. And he just seems to get it. And, yeah, I mean, it almost is a little too perfect, but it's better than kind of what the opposite was. And look, from my perch, I like it that people like the quarterback, because then when we talk about him, it can just be about the football and it's not about, what he puts in his Chipotle bowl or any of this other stuff. Like, it's just you're kind of evaluating it on that level and not like through this like the veneer of hate. And I think it makes it a little bit easier to talk about like what's actually happening on the football field.